Hi, my name is Marge Ayton. I'm Secretary and Co-Founder of Soothe Eating Disorder Support Services. I'm here today to work with Lee on a resource for recovery. Soothe was born out of personal experience when our own daughter developed an eating disorder at just 10 years old. She's now 31, she's well in recovery and she's actually following her dreams as an actress, and she's also a patron of our charity. It was rather a different story for Lee. 2 years ago she fought for her own life as the eating disorder took a devastating turn. Today she's here to help other people. She's inspirational and she wants to share her recovery process and the aids that she used for recovery to help other people.
For this part of the video, I'm going to cover something called self-soothe. I'm going to demonstrate the 5 senses, which are sight, sound, smell, touch and taste. I've got something called a distress tolerance box, and I've taken a few items out of it for my self-soothe, and I'm going to just demonstrate a few of them for you. We've got sight, which I'm going to use bubbles, and just because I like bubbles, and bubbles represent colours, it represent anything you want them to represent really. But I also have lights, flashing lights, fish lights, all sorts of different lights that I like to follow, which also stop my head from racing. I've got sound, which I've got different types of music. It's all meditation music, so it's all very soothing. Listen to all the different instruments. None of them have really got any words in, so the words can't trigger anything. Something that's very tranquil and very relaxing. I quite like to sit with these on, with my lights on, and just listen and watch the lights and just be in the moment with the music and feel the music. There's my touch. I've got a teddy. He ain't got a name, but he's really soft. He's got different textures on him, so it's about taking notice of all the different textures. His body's really smooth, but then he's got his hands, which are a different texture, and his ears, and then he's got his eyes. They're a bit funky. You can also just look at him and take all the different notices of different things about him as well. And if you need to, say it out loud, say what he feels like. Say his stomach's lovely and soft, but his hands are very coarse. Say it out loud. Nobody's going to hear you, so it doesn't really matter. Smell. I've got my vanilla. Vanilla for me represents really good times with one of my ex-partners who I sadly lost 2 years ago. But smell is one of the biggest senses. It invokes some really good memories. So you've got to be very careful about the sense you pick, but I'd go for something that you know is very comforting to you. So for me it's vanilla, and it will invoke them memories, and it's instant. They're there, and they often make you smile. They might be a bit hard to handle, but the smile's there, and that moment of happiness, it brings it all back, and that's when it's hard to get rid of it, when something is just there in the moment. So I found vanilla, and it's going to sound really weird, but I love the smell of Dettol and bleach. I can smell them out the bottle all day long and be quite happy. Taste, I've got mints. I love the taste of spearmint. I mean, I love the taste of coffee and all sorts of different things, but I love the taste of spearmint. So if I use mints and just remind myself of what the taste represents, but also just feel the different places it touches in my mouth, what it feels like on my teeth, what it feels like on my tongue. It's all about reminding yourself of different things and just being with that particular thing at that particular moment. Don't think of anything else that is going on, just be in the moment. And then I've got my safety, which I've got a hat. When I was really poorly, I never went anywhere without a hat, whether it be this type of hat or a cap. I mean, this was my favourite hat. I mean, it's got holes in everywhere. But I use it if I'm feeling very insecure and very threatened. I won't use it anymore, but it reminds me to wrap myself up in a blanket and gives me a sense of safety and a sense of security. But when I was poorly, I wouldn't go out anywhere without a hat. I hid behind my hat and it made me feel invisible, which is what I was trying to do at the time. But now, obviously, I don't need to, but it reminds me of a safer time. It reminds me of feeling safe, so that's why I use my hat. But now I'll use a nice fluffy blanket like this one. Stress tolerance is about managing your anxiety and being able to bring it down, and there are different techniques to use that. I use several different ones. One of them is my damn it doll. That I don't actually use it, but maybe if I read what it says to you, then it might help. Damn it doll, when your day's started wrong and things go from bad to worse, here's a little damn it doll to help you lift the curse. Take it gently by the leg and find some place to slam it, and as you knock the stuffing out, shout damn it, damn it, damn it. And that just makes me laugh. It just reminds me to laugh, because laughter is the best medicine and it just makes you feel good. But then I've also got things like bubble wrap, just twisting it, popping it, it helps. It gives you something not only to focus on but take your anger out on. If you're twisting it, you can really go to town on it and really twist it hard. I mean, mine's got holes in and I go through so much, but it's brilliant. I've also got stress balls, just gives your hands something to do, but be careful, don't pop them because they just go everywhere, but they are really good to squeeze, really good to get everything out on, and it gives your hands something to do and stops you using your hands to hurt yourself, which, let's face it, a lot of us do when we're feeling quite distressed. I also have a little ball here, not that it's much use, but it reminds me to go kick a ball against a wall, go play football with one of my nieces or nephews. Just get out the house, be outside and do something that releases energy in a positive way. Even if you're getting a stick and hitting a tree, you're releasing your energy and you're releasing your frustration and you're not hurting yourself or anybody else around you. It's just a different type of ball, it's a different textured ball, it's quite spiky so it feels different in your hands, but it's also not going to hurt you, so it's another thing to squeeze, but that's going to feel different. A lot of distress tolerance is about keeping your hands busy and using your hands to get rid of all your frustration, because let's face it, you clench your fists when you're angry and you're frustrated, so have something to use to focus on, something that feels different, but also something you can let go of your anger with, that isn't going to hurt basically, and that you can just lob at a wall if you really feel like it. If I can't get outside, I also have soft balls that I can throw at the wall if it's chucking it down outside, and this one isn't going to damage anything because I think it's firm, I don't really know, but it's soft, and yeah, it doesn't make any noise when you throw it at a wall, and it doesn't break anything, so it's useful. And Play-Doh again is also another thing that you can use. You can do anything and it squeezes. So distress tolerance is all about your hands really, and keeping your hands busy and taking your anger out of things and on something that isn't going to cause any damage to anyone. So it's just, you can squeeze it, you can mould it into different shapes, and yeah, it feels good as well, and it smells funky, and it reminds me of being a kid, which can also be really good. Now I'm going to cover something about distraction. The reason for distraction is to either stop yourself from getting your anxiety from going through the roof, or to once you've brought your anxiety down through self-soothe, to stop yourself from thinking too much about anything that's going on that's not helpful. So I've got a few different things I use. Play-Doh's a good one. Modelling, you can make roses, you can make little people out of it, little balls or just different shapes. So it's really good. It's become a habit for me just to use it for the sake of using it, really. But I love it, and it smells nice and it feels funky. I've also got a mini jigsaw which goes in my box to remind me to go and do a big jigsaw, because jigsaws can pass hours away, and they're really good because you just get so absorbed in it you forget what's going on around you because you're too bothered about, I want that piece to go there and I will find it. So I get a big jigsaw, a nice big jigsaw board. Disney are the best because I think they're there and they bring back so many good memories for so many people. But yeah, use your jigsaws, they're great. I knit all sorts of different things, but I also sew and make different things. I'm currently making a dog coat for my dog. But yeah, just make things, and they make good Christmas presents if you want to knit scarves and blankets. So I've even knitted bags recently, so it's really good. And learning's quite hard, but it's actually really good because it also acts as distress tolerance, because if it's doing your head, you can pull it apart and start again. But it's something you can sit there and you've got something to do with your hands, so your hands don't feel lost. But you've also occupying your mind and making sure you get every knit and every stitch right. But it's good. And then juggling. I can juggle. I'm not going to do it now because I'll probably knock everything everywhere. But you've got to really concentrate on juggling, and it's just, nothing else matters. Just make sure you're not near any windows or near anything that is actually important to you, because if you're like me, you'll break everything. But it's really good because it just occupies your mind. It takes your mind off things. And crafts. I like painting, glass painting, drawing, anything. So I have like a pencil and some paper just to do a rough sketch of whatever I want to do, or just remind me to go get my paints out and just splash a bit of paint everywhere. And it is very therapeutic because you never know what you're going to get. Even if you're just splashing paint on a piece of paper, you're just letting everything go, and nothing matters as long as it's not on your mother's carpet. It's really good, so just use it all. I make boxes, I do glass painting, I've made mobiles, I've done all sorts. I've actually made a wind chime recently, which was really, really good, and that's taken me about 3 weeks to make, so yeah, it's kept me very distracted. A chain analysis is a tool to help you understand and work through why you use the self-defeating behaviour. It gives you a chance to actually work through why you used it, what triggered the need to use it, and what negative connotations it brought up for you. It also helps you to take responsibility and also see how it affects not just you but all those around you, because your behaviours don't just affect you, they affect everybody that loves and cares for you as well. Everybody's chain analysis is different, everybody's behaviours are different, so my advice on using a chain analysis would be adapt the form to what you think's best. Change it if something doesn't quite fit for you, think of something that will, or just cut that little bit out, but always keep in what behaviour you used and the effects it had not just on you but on those around you as well. A crisis plan is a tool to use to plan for if a crisis occurs. A crisis is individual to every person. Well, it isn't something to make when it actually occurs, it's something to have in case it does occur. It gives you a visual aid to know what to do and how to manage your thoughts, feelings and urges. It's also good to share it with your family and friends, as it gives them a point of reference and helps them to support you better and understand your needs at a more appropriate level. The use of a behaviour record form is to identify the urges to use different behaviours and what purpose they serve to you. It will also help you to find an alternative behaviour that is not self-destructive and is not destructive to others. A thought record is a really good tool to use as it helps you work out your negative thoughts and find the evidence that backs it up, but usually find evidence that doesn't back it up, and therefore helps you to train yourself into changing your negative thoughts into positives. A food diary can be used in so many different ways at different points of your recovery. To start with, it can be used to actually understand what you're thinking and feeling and what your fears are during each meal. It can also help you actually rationalise your fears. Do they actually happen? Are they real, or are they just something you think and strongly believe is the truth, when actually the truth is something completely different? It can also give you a chance to see what you're eating and evidence of how little you really do eat as compared to somebody who eats normally, if you like, or somebody who does overeat. Later on in your recovery, it can also help you to identify hunger and fullness and be able to manage your meals instead of being on a meal plan. Manage what you're eating to your needs. So everybody's food intake is different. Everybody's dietary intake varies. There's no two people that have the same. It's all used on your energy balance, what your input is and what your output is. So if you want to be more active, you are going to have to eat more of different types of food, for example, more protein and quite often more fat. But if you're not as active, you're not going to have to eat as much as others. But it also depends on your metabolism. So don't think that because you're eating more, you're going to gain more weight. It just means you need to eat more for your body. The importance of sharing and caring is to share with other people what you're thinking, what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. It gives them a chance to understand you better, understand your illness and support you in a way that is helpful. An eating disorder thrives on secrecy. The more you keep a secret, the stronger your eating disorder will get. You can only take away from your illness if you actually take responsibility for what's going on and you share with those that are closest to you what is really going on inside your head.
Having been in a specialist unit for so long, what was it like and the transition coming back into local services?
Leaving hospital was really scary. I didn't know if I could do it. I doubted myself so much. But actually coming back, it was made so much easier by having such a good home team who were involved in every bit of my care from start to finish of being in hospital. I used to see them every other week whilst on home leave.
Right, that's brilliant. So you felt supported at every level. That's really good.
But I know some of my friends didn't feel that. But I was just lucky to have a great home team.
And what were the most difficult challenges on your return to independent living?
Getting structure into my day, actually getting the right time for meals, making sure I got my meals right, because normal day-to-day living does not go, it's not rigid like it is in hospital, it's go with the flow.
Yeah. Have you still been able to keep in touch with the people that you befriended in the unit, and if so, how are they doing?
Oh, I keep in touch with them almost daily. Kirsty, one of my best friends from there, she's actually at the top catering college, Leeds, in London, and she's doing absolutely amazing. And Rania is training to be a psychologist at York University.
Oh, that's fantastic. How important was it to have family and friends on board with your continued recovery plan?
I couldn't emphasise enough how important it is, because no matter how much support you've got, there's never too much support, and you turn to different people for different things. somebody you just want to have a laugh with, whereas somebody else might be more serious and more practical. So you need to have as many people on board with your recovery as you possibly can.
Yeah, so you don't feel isolated at all.
Obviously, you can feel isolated while there's just people all around you, but it's finding the right balance and the right person to turn to at the right time. Because, as I said, everyone is different and deals with things differently.
Yeah, oh bless you. What was the first thing you had to put in place when you got back home? The very first thing, when you came through those doors, what did you have to put back?
A strict routine for me.
Right.
I had to have a routine and follow on, just so I knew where I was at, have a meal plan there, know what I was eating, but also have a daily structure of what I was going to do the next few days until I got to see my CPN again, and then just take it from there and make a bigger plan with her.
Yeah. How often did you change that structure of your plan for the day? How often did you actually review that?
Not very often, to be fair. In the end, it just kind of came naturally because I was doing so many things, and I was always aware that if I gave my eating disorder the power again, it was going to take over pretty fast.
Right. So you was gaining that management back over the illness.
Now, to be fair, I don't even think about it very often. If I want a piece of cake, I go and have a piece of cake, and I'll still have my tea later on because, a little what you fancy does you good.
Absolutely, absolutely. How easy was it to shift from plan and then to incorporate a working lifestyle?
I think that was probably really hard because to change from when you're having a structured meal to not actually knowing when you're going to have your lunch, because it's obviously everyone's taking lunch at different times, so you've just got to fit in. It's quite hard to plan around that, and you start panicking, thinking, oh, well, am I going to get it in? Am I going to be able to do it? Because you're not structured anymore, and it's quite difficult.
You've recently done a learn walk in aid of Soothe. How did that challenge your structure?
Oh God, that was... on the third day I very nearly quit, but I wouldn't have quit, I just thought I was. That was so hard because I wasn't in control of my own meals. I had to go and pick from a menu, and it was just like, oh God. And obviously it was all pub meals, so the sizes were just ridiculous. Trying to balance my energy input with my output was unreal, and I had to eat so much more, especially protein, because I was walking nearly 20 miles a day, especially going off track as much as I did. So it was so hard, but it was such a big achievement.
Inspirational. How often do you use the forms and plan a year after leaving the unit?
Different forms I use at different times. Chain analysis forms, if I use on an almost weekly basis, that's just if I've had a wobbly day. Behaviour forms, I probably use the forms, all of them, at least once a week.
Right, okay. What would your advice be to other people as they plan their journey into recovery?
Never give up. Just never give up.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you find all the methods in this video as useful as I have, and that they aid your recovery as much as they did mine.
The video will be backed up by worksheets, and it will be available online. If anybody does need any more information, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you.